I'm being torn apart. I want to be free of this pain. I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
The biggest mistake any ever make is getting too comfortable, kicking their feet up, taking them off victory lap. Cause you ain't never safe. Somebody always out there, watching.
Like, there's people out there that are just working harder than everybody else, and they're gonna keep doing it.
Not you. You're too cold.
Yeah, because I think that emotions most of the time doesn't help us to deal with something.
Dedication, hard work, dedication, hard work. On one man army, one man army. The world can go against me. I'm still coming on top.
It's not that you don't know what to do, it's that you can't fucking do it when it's not comfortable for you to do. And that's why people lose.
You know who goes the furthest? The ones who value consistency over perfection.
Because we forget we are in control of our mind. We put in our minds what we should do.
At the end of the day, you've got to feel some way. So why not feel unbeatable? Why not feel untouchable? Why not feel like the best to ever do it?
When you have something in life that you want to accomplish greatly, you have to be willing to give up your happiness.
You know, you're gonna have some haters. What's the best way to silence haters? Be undeniable.
A focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius. If you think about yourself as the sun, and you need to burn through a hole through a piece of paper, like that's what you have to get through. A sun has more than enough power to burn through it. But if the sun is evenly spread, it just warms up the paper, but it doesn't even break through. And so many of you have suns and suns worth of energy, but you're so spread thin that all you do is warm your stuff up. You never break through. And you would be amazed at how much more you can accomplish when you only have one thing to do.
You will never stay up at night staring at the ceiling, losing sleep over the failures. You'll never lose sleep over the failures. The shit that eats you from the inside out, the shit that'll keep you up at night is the what if. Do you understand that in 100 fucking years, not a single person that you know that has an opinion on you, every single opinion about you dies in 100 fucking years. Every single thought, idea, everything, every person you have ever met will be 6 feet under, and so will you. So why are you taking it so seriously? Why don't you just live your existence for you? Do things that make you happy. We're playing a game and it comes to an end and nobody comes out alive, and so why not just live it to the fullest? Why not take every single risk that you can take? Why not do everything that you know you're meant to do? I heard a quote one time. Everybody has 2 lives. And the second one starts when you realize you only have one.
You don't need enemies. Compete against you. Once you compete against you, you're gonna always win. Because you're trying to get better every day. So you in competition all the time. Them enemies over there take you off your course. Now you start thinking like them, you start doing goofy shit like them, and now you're not you. As long as you remain you, and you competing with you every day, you're gonna get better. You're gonna get great, you're gonna master you.
It is astounding how many people want to be spectacular in life but also want to fit in and be normal. Like, by being normal, you are, by definition, aiming for average. Normal people get normal results. Weird people get weird results. You literally can't do what everyone else does and not expect to get what everyone else has. By doing what everyone else does, you guarantee average results.
It's 1 a.m. I'm going for my 3rd workout. Do I want to go to the gym? Absolutely not. I'd rather, lay in my house and sit in the movie theater and watch movies. But, to be the best, you got to work overtime. To be the best, you got to work overtime.
Losers wing it through life. Winners leave nothing to chance. Because as a winner, you're already going to experience hardship, failures, or rejection. But by game planning it out, structuring it out, creating a formula or process, at least you have some framework to follow. But if you're just gonna wing it through life, that's what losers do. Losers think that they still have more time to get there. Losers measure themselves by the losers that they surround themselves with.
Number one, don't run away. And number two, be honest to yourself. Those two things, you should keep them in mind and then just put time, effort into practice. I think is the key to step by step build something up about yourself, about your life, about your character and personality that will give you some strong fundament in order to tackle everything that this world is going to throw at you.
If you have something in your heart, go for it, chase it, give it all you got, and find out where it takes you. The opportunity right now to chase your dreams, you only got one life. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You're right back where you started. Chase those dreams, man. I try to tell that to every kid I ever meet. Chase your dreams. Nothing's too crazy. You believe it, make them believe it.
We're really quick to forget that the day we're living today is a day we dreamed of 10 years ago. But there's a part of your life that is exactly the life that you wanted. And when you forget that, you lose out on recognizing you're already living in the dream and that you already have the power to create that future dream because you've already done it once.
Knock me down 19 times, I'ma get up 20. Tell me I can't do something, I'ma make it my mission to show you I can. I'ma fail, but I won't quit. I'ma lose, but eventually I will win. I'm insane when it comes to becoming the best version of myself.
Only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big.
The latest research in neuroscience says you can change your brain just by thinking. So then as you begin to think about a new possibility and your brain begins to fire in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, and you begin to plan your behaviors, and you begin to review in your mind, mentally rehearse who you're going to be in your life. Now your brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's in fact a map to the future.
You have to build yourself into someone who is resilient enough and mentally tough enough and has the fortitude and the grit and the belief and all of the things required to push through these difficult times that most people aren't even willing to go through. There is nobody that you look up to that became that person without a tremendous amount of hardship. There's nobody that you look up to that became a successful, inspiration to you without going through a lot of pain. When you think of the stories and the people that inspire you, the reason they inspire you is because what they went through to get where they are, not because of just where they are.
Everybody loves a hero. People line up for them, cheer them, scream their names, and years later they'll tell how they stood in the rain for hours just to get a glimpse of the one who taught him to hold on a second longer. I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride, even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most. Even our dreams.
Confidence isn't about everything going right. It's about trusting your ability to bounce back stronger. You've made it through every hard thing so far, so don't doubt your ability now. Confidence is a skill that you build one decision at a time, and it starts with trying. You try, you learn, you get better, you become more competent, and over time, confidence shows up easier because you earned it through action. The biggest breakthroughs happen when you're done. Done with shrinking, done with waiting, done with the version of you that plays small.
In the endless murmur of judgment, true peace is born not from seeking approval, but from mastering the quiet art of walking alone, unwavering, toward your own truth.
Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. The hard choices, what we most fear doing, asking, saying, these are very often exactly what we most need to do.
You see people who do big things and you automatically say, that guy's so lucky, she's so lucky. You don't know that. You're assuming that. Going to work every day for 20 years and grinding your ass off and then becoming a multimillionaire, that's not luck. That's action and reaction. Quit using the word luck, quit believing in luck, and start believing in work. Start believing in results that come from your actions.
Stop telling your visions to other people, because they're not going to see it. Why you think you keep imagining opening a business? Why you keep imagining graduating, getting a better job? Why do you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that? Because God is talking to you. He's showing you something that He has for you.
It's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say. You gotta be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of fucking energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. And it takes being fucking obsessed to where people think you're crazy.
Let's go. Let's go. You got money, but do you got that dog? Yeah, you got money, you got privilege, but do you got that dog?
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right.
When God gives you a dream, and I believe that we all have a dream, that God has given each one of us something that's beyond us, and hope and aspiration that makes us look beyond. And sometimes the dream is so big it scares us, but it should inspire us to believe that we can only do it with God's help. The dream is your dream. And sometimes we make a mistake of wanting to share our dreams with everybody. Dreams can get you in trouble. You have dream busters. There's people who don't have a dream, and they will try and help bring down your dream. God gave your dream to you. And everything that God gives you, God intends for you to achieve and accomplish.
Don't have time to regret. We move on, because we are acceptable for what we are, not what we think we should be. I'm accepted in myself by what I am, but not as I think I should be, because that's a lie. I'm a sinner, I'm an old sinner, and I've done some bad things, I've done some good things. So, you just forgive yourself and move on.
These people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know. You see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life. People have hard lives, and the ideal that you're observing that makes you jealous and resentful is in large part an illusion that's created by your own mind.
Don't give up. Don't let the world get you down. When it does get you down, get up and write what you want out of your life and don't fucking stop. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no vacation. You get up every fucking day, you look in the mirror, and you tell that mirror, I'm a bad motherfucker. And one way or another, I'm gonna make it fucking happen today. And guess what? If you keep writing it down, after a while, the power of the pen, you'll fucking believe it.
If you don't have what you want, stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money, you don't have the time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats, and you will take the island because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, tend to succeed.
Here's the truth. This is the reality. Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it.
Just stand. You keep standing. You keep standing, no matter how rough the sea, you keep standing. And I'm not talking about just water. You keep standing. No matter what, you don't give up.
Don't allow the difficult and challenging times to demoralize you. He said, in life you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. And I'm saying, in your hands, you have ideas. You have been given something to bring to the universe that was not here before you showed up.
Do a little bit more work, and a little bit more work. The results are gonna come more. More people are gonna believe. Nobody fucking believes in you because you haven't done anything yet. That's the reality.
Today is the day that you let go of that hurt and release that pain forever. Your tears have served the ground for far too long. It's time for you to practice that smile daily. It's time for that smile to no longer be a stranger. And it's time for you to let go of the things that are stripping your heart of its happiness. You can't heal by going back to the hurt. You can't receive your future by holding on to your past. So stop pressing replay on the things that need to be deleted from your life.
He had this beautiful quote, and it read, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And I took that to heart. I believe there's time for resting at the end. That time is not now. To have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never ever rest in the middle.
When people can't get up in the morning, I'm going to tell you why. Because they can predict the feeling of everything that's going to happen in their life. And their body's resigned to the familiar. It says, oh, another mundane day. But remember when you were a kid and you were going on a field trip? What happened then? You were up and dressed and ready to go before your parents were up. Because you knew something unexpected was going to happen. That's how we should live our lives. Waking up with the understanding to expect the unexpected, and something unusual should happen in our life as a result of our efforts.
It doesn't matter what is your level of intelligence, what is your level of capability, introvert, extrovert, this, that, doesn't matter. Do you have the courage and commitment to make the possibility into your reality?
Where have you been? Where have you been up to this point? You look at your life, you look at what you produce. Is it giving you what you want? Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas?
The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, eventually you'll act on it.
I want to ask you, if you died now, what is it that before you take your last breath, you will regret what you didn't do?
A lot of us run away from our fears and we box ourselves in to a lifestyle of this is all we can do. Because I'm afraid of everything outside this box. So I'm comfortable inside this box. I jumped the box. I was sick and tired of not facing the fact that I've allowed life to make me feel like a loser. And a lot of us allow life to do that, and we accept it. And a lot of us talk about how we believe in God. We believe in something higher than us. If that is truth, you won't allow yourself to feel it.
If you do what is easy, your life will be
heart. People that are hungry know if you want to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
The antidote to despair is action. The prescription for radical success is action. The difference between you and the person living their dreams that you're watching is simply the amount of action.
What the world has experienced in the last 5 to 6 months is such an extreme test of tolerance and our ability to be resilient and ability to overcome fear, that if anyone feels that they have not held it together, they shouldn't judge themselves.
It's very wonderful to see a mountain and to want to climb it and put your flag on top of it. It is very wonderful to want to create your own mountain so that you can then climb it and put your flag on top of it. But it is also wonderful to know why you are doing that, or why you are compelled to climb mountains in the first place. And you might discover that everyone values mountains, but you actually love the sea.
You know, we all really need to understand that failure and failing is crucial to growth. It's absolutely fundamentally crucial. It's like a part of you has to be defeated in order to be reborn in a stronger way.
Is that the first thing that fear does is it should hopefully connect you to wanting to build up the skills to deal with that fear. A lot of our responses are we freeze, we get stuck, or we run away. We run away and we try and avoid these issues, or we bury ourselves and we try and forget about it. And so our responses to fear, what we don't realize, create more fear.
Life means to evolve. And if you're not evolving through small incremental changes that build up over time to create a large change, then you're probably dead. And that shouldn't really be a goal of anyone. Put your head down and do the training and take the pain, and eventually it's going to pay off.
How will you be the man, the woman you've always known yourself to be? But there's a calling on your life that you don't get to shake. And it's only yours. No one else has the same calling as you. And so when you begin to look at people, look at someone as a model of who you can be by taking a piece of who they are, adding it to the uniqueness of who you are, and then understanding what's the divine assignment on your life. What do you need to do more of? Who do you need to be more of? What do you need to evict from your behavior?
Why do we fear the darkness? Because it's unknown. Why do we fear what's beyond our solar system? Because we don't know. It's when we don't know that we're in fear.
We have to withstand strenuous and difficult things. There's something really powerful about failing and about figuring out how to harness that energy into fuel inside of you to just push you. It's really hard.
It's crazy to me that we remain in a state of unknowingness in our own lives and emotions because we feel scared of actually getting intimate with our fear. We get scared of being present and close to our fear, and that's why we try and put fear to the back of our minds and try and run away from it.
If you can get to the point where you can say, well, I've already pushed through something uncomfortable, or I've already done something that I didn't think that I was able to do, didn't have the skills to do, didn't have the confidence to even try, but yet circumstances intervened and I was forced to. I've already done these things. Proof of concept is already there. So what reason do I have to believe that it's not going to work again? Looking back at our successes and not just appreciating them, but really recognizing that the Old dragons we've already slain.
There's a point there where everything that you've been and every person, every characteristic that you've been that doesn't serve you, you need to confront it. And you need to say, thank you for getting me to this point. But in order for me to get there, I have to leave you here. So if you walk alone for a while, and you will share your vision with someone and they won't get it. They just won't get it. They won't get your vision because your vision was given to you. And I don't want to get to the end of my days and said I kept some in. Your greatest leap comes in a combination. I'm complete and I'm ready.
Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why?
So if you're not in a place where you're in love with life, or in love with yourself, or practicing diminishing your emotional reactions to certain people or conditions in your life, and you're living in anger or hostility or judgment or fear, and you want a loving relationship, there is no magnetic field for you to draw that to you. And in fact, if you say to me, well, it's that person or that circumstance that's caused me to feel this way, then I would say, that person or that circumstance is controlling the way you feel and the way you think. And anything that controls the way we feel and the way we think, we are victims to, right? So most people are unconsciously responding to the conditions in their environment, experiencing emotions that are derived from the hormones of stress. Those emotions cause us to feel separate from our dreams. They heighten our senses, so if we can't see them, it doesn't exist. The threat or the danger puts us in emergency mode, and we can think positively about the relationship we want. We could send the signal out into the field. We could have pictures, we could remind ourselves of what it is, but if you're not drawing the experience back to you, then you will be, as a victim, more vulnerable to the conditions in your environment, whether large or small.
And this is the insight. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower in order to execute on a habit. If I just felt like writing, if I just felt like meditating, if I felt like working out, then I would do it. But in fact, they don't have a plan for it, and so they wake up each day thinking, I wonder if I'll feel motivated to write today. I wonder if I'll feel motivated to work out today. But instead, you can take the decision-making out of it by explicitly stating when, where, and how you want to implement the habit.
Life is short. It's going by a gazillion miles an hour. We got one shot at this. We might as well squeeze every bit of juice out of life we possibly can. Winners win when no one else is watching. How many foul shots do you think Michael Jordan took when no one else was in the gym? You're doing the work when no one else is watching. When you soar, let them admire you, let them envy you, in fact, be the inspiration to pull some people with you.
Can you go to your mistakes? Can you go to your weaknesses? Right? Can you go to other people's mistakes and weaknesses? Some people, because of an ego barrier, can't do that. It's the process, essentially, of saying, what am I like? Everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses. The weaknesses are the other side of the strengths.
Life is one big mind game. And you're playing it with yourself.
Tranquility is the new luxury. And we are most true to our best selves when we're tranquil, peaceful, and serene.
Because I'm not naturally gifted. I don't have any natural talents. And all of us are born as this lump of jelly that can't hold its own head up. And we all learn to do things. And it's that ability to specialize that makes us great. And the things that you choose to put your time and energy into, those are going to be the things that allow you to accomplish something. But all of that is a choice.
You're not going to think your way to passion. You can't think your way to finding something that you feel in your heart. It doesn't work that way. You got to feel your way into it. It's inside of you. Do you understand?
The economy is going to change no matter what you want it to do. The weather is going to change. Relationships are going to change. Everything in life is always changing. We don't have to work on change. Change is automatic, but progress is not. So if you want to make real progress, then you really got to look at your life in a different way. You got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out like people do who make a resolution.
You have to go dark. What I mean by that is you have to be quiet in your mind. Get away from people. We love being around people. We love talking. We love parties. We love all that. It's okay to be alone. It's also okay to be unhappy. It's okay to be unhappy sometimes, man. It's okay to say, you know what, man, I'm f***ed up. So you gotta go to the truth first. Who are you? Get really accountable and say, okay, who am I? What's the truth about me? Get to that dark place in your mind. Figure out, it may take months, it may take years. Figure out your purpose. Figure out what you want to be in life. And then from there, okay, I have my purpose. It may take a long time. No one knows their purpose because it's too loud. Find your purpose. From there, all right, you gotta start planning. People love the planning phase because it's very comfortable. Then from the planning phase, you gotta go to execution. So the execution phase, what we all hate, because that's where the real work begins, and that's when the failure happens, and the failure, and the failure.
When you live for a lifetime, not just your life cycle, but a lifetime, you live for the legacy. I'm writing my legacy now. You won't sweat the small stuff anymore. You won't get caught up in gossip. You won't get caught up in living inside worry. You might worry, but worry does not have permission to take up real estate in your body.
And so, for example, if you're going to treat yourself properly, which you should, you have to treat yourself as an iterated process across time properly. So you today, you tomorrow, you next week, you next month. But the right place to start is with the things that are within your local control, and there's some humility in that. It certainly has nothing to do with instantaneous self-gratification or selfishness.
You teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like before it's made manifest. That means you can't wait for your relationship to feel love. You have to reverse that battleship and understand feeling love is going to be the magnet. And if you can hold the vision of your future, a clear intention, with a coherent brain, organize signals into the field, and you could actually crack this thing open and practice getting so present in the moment that you're not anticipating the next moment or trying to predict the future. And you're no longer romancing the emotions of your past. You can find that sweet spot of the generous present moment. The familiar past is the known emotionally. The predictable future is the habituation of autopilot, being unconscious, and programs. Those are both knowns. There's only one place where the unknown exists, that's the present moment.
So those of us who are living, we have an obligation to live our lives to the absolute fullest. Life is one big tug of war, and you don't win that tug of war by pushing the rope. You have to pull, and a lot of times you have to pull yourself through life. This morning, I did not want to get up, so I had to pull my ass out of bed. But guess what? The more and more I got into that run, each step into that run, I started gaining more and more confidence. But to gain that confidence, you have to be willing to pull yourself out of bed, pull yourself out of the funk. Pull yourself out of whatever life is throwing at you to gain that confidence. By the time the run was over, I was like, you mother, I once again beat your ass. You gotta be willing to find the confidence. Stay in the fight, stay in the war, stay in the battle, armor your mind.
And so I've been intrigued with, can you be committed to the process of what you do without being emotionally attached to the result of what you do? Because a lot of people can be committed to the process of what they do if the results don't change. But the moment the result or the outcome changes of what they're chasing, they shut it down or they quit simply because the result changed. So can we be committed to the process of what we do, but not emotionally to the result of what we do, understanding every day I get up and give everything I got to everything I'm a part of simply because this is who I am. Like the only thing I need every day of my life is 86,400 seconds. That's it. Like I don't need some reward. Like I don't need, the only thing I need is breath in my body, and I'm gonna flat out go and get it.
But remember that the moments when life tells you yes aren't the ones that define you. The moments that really matter are the moments when life tells you no. That's what I want to focus on today. When life tells you no, ask yourself honestly, what am I capable of? And once you know the answer, don't be afraid to let everyone else know it too. Find a way to keep things in perspective. That doesn't make the painful moments any less painful, but it does mean you don't have to live forever in the pain. You don't have to live forever in that no. Because if you know what you're capable of, if you're always prepared and you keep things in perspective, then life has a way of turning a no into yes.
Betray your destiny and see how long it takes you to be drowning in a storm. It'll happen immediately, and of course it will, because what's calling you to be your best is exactly the thing that's pushing you forward to manifest yourself most fully in the world. It's what you need. You run away from that, the boat's going to start to rock very, very quickly. Well, what does that mean? Well, what else would come out of chaos? You know, if you fall apart and then you put yourself back together, what is it that comes back out? Well, at least you're in better shape than you were before, you know, and then maybe you do that 20 times in your life, or 50 times, and you do it voluntarily.
That's not my problem. The problem is when the adversity struck, they didn't know how to respond. In other words, when adversity strikes, for some reason, people think they rise to the occasion. You don't rise to the occasion, you revert back to your training. Meaning your core, your essence, who you are as a person. When adversity and opposition strike, you can't turn it to the beast. You already gotta be the beast.
So it's a very brief life, and whatever is of paramount importance to this life must happen at the earliest, not day after tomorrow, isn't it? It must be today. So, the life process doesn't wait. You need to understand, your life is just a certain combination of time and energy. Energy we can manage, time you cannot manage.
A lot of you are trying to find inspiration and motivation with a depressed mindset. You're depressed because you're not doing it with yourself. You don't find inspiration by not living in the grip of life. You need to live in the grip of life to find inspiration. Put challenges in front of yourself. When you put a challenge in front of yourself and you attack it, that's when you find inspiration. Try to be 10% better than you were last week.
Quitting guarantees the failure. Once you quit, it rules out any chance of succeeding. The mere waking up every day, putting the next foot in front of the next foot, at least keeps you in the game.
The more you walk away from accountability, the weaker you become. Find yourself in the grip of life. You can't find yourself by doing nothing.
Excellence is not a concept foreign to us. Excellence is in our DNA. Because where we come from, what we represent is far, far stronger than anything we have done.
Now, when you think about, holy shit, my job as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as an athlete, as a speaker, as a whatever you want to be, you've got to get so good at that thing that when people see you do it, you make them experience the most potent human emotion, and that is awe. To get that good is a terrifying journey of self-discovery and confronting who you really are. Because you cannot make change until you acknowledge where you're actually at. And what I began to realize is that the mind is the matrix in and of itself. Because I can tell you right now, today, in this moment, I promise you, the matrix has you. This is water. To a fish, water is so ubiquitous it ceases to exist. Now, we all have that same thing, and it's playing on us, and it's keeping us from becoming who we want to become. And that thing is our mindset. It's our belief system. It is so ever present. It is so ingrained into the fabric of who you are and the way that you process data, you don't even notice it. You don't even know that it's real. And this is the thing that impacts your life. It is your inability to see that your mindset controls everything, that it is water in and of itself. Now, when I heard this from Shakespeare, I realized that once you become aware of the water, you can change everything. That you can go from a scared, lost kid to whomever you want to be.
There's a lesson in this story. So many things are trying to come to you. So many doors are trying to open, but we're so attached to who we've been that we can't quite become all of who we're supposed to be. There becomes a time when you no longer fit in your own story. There's a new part 2 trying to be born for you. And it requires you to own every part of the past, but own every part of the possibility. And on the other side of that, the diamonds that will drop out of your mouth, the diamonds that will come birthing from your soul, the seeds that will be planted, and the harvest that will grow. You will be barely recognizable, but better than that are the people around you. Because when you change, you as just one person. But when you become a force to be reckoned with, then your voice permeates.
You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how can you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. What should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that?
How many of you, within the course of your lifetime, have the capacity to be peaceful? The capacity to be peaceful. If you have the capacity to be peaceful, then you are already moving in the right direction. Because we as human beings, naturally and innately, have the capacity to be peaceful. Because when we are at peace with ourselves, we are experiencing our enlightened consciousness, yes? So this is how transformation works. We have to let go of all the golden carrots that have been dangled in front of us, of success, of accumulation, of being more, because more isn't necessarily more. Do you understand that?
Pain plus reflection equals progress. If you take away reflection out of that equation, all you're left with is pain. Right? If pain plus reflection equals progress and you take away reflection, all you're left with is pain, there's no progress. And for a lot of us, when we're experiencing pain, when we're experiencing stress, when we're experiencing pressure, when we're experiencing challenges, we forget to reflect. And when you forget to reflect, you lose the opportunity for real progress. We forget to reflect because we get distracted. We try to avoid pain, or we try to numb pain. But when we reflect on pain, we have the opportunity to have progress in our lives.
Treat yourself like someone you love. Treat yourself like someone you love. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me is the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough.
What's my next step? And so I'd go immediately into action. And you know, I find that when we ask the universe these questions, a lot of clarity emerges. You have to ask the question first, but if you ask life, what's my next step to get to that future, which looks impossible from this perspective, you will start to intuitively know what that next step is.
So the true source of influence is your service to something higher. Without that, you're living a life of manipulation, trying to get something to be successful. However, when you begin to surrender your life to something higher, an attribute of the presence, even your definition of success changes.
This too shall pass. Whatever you're feeling, whether you're feeling great or whether you're feeling terribly, it's going to pass. So helping people understand that that will pass, that there will be something beautiful again waiting for them.
We have to redefine success to be peace. Because if you are not at peace, you are not successful. Do you get that? If pain is driving your need to produce, if you are not successful, you're running away from something.
So it's not about who you are. It's about who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay to get there. Become that person. Change the world. Change yourselves.
The thing that people misunderstand
about success is they're looking for the easiest way to get there. When everybody goes 5 easy steps, 10 steps to greatness, those steps for success, they're infinite. They are infinite. You cannot count them. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Those steps are constantly shifting. You don't know if they're there. Sometimes you have to trust that the next step is going to be there when you can't even see it. And sometimes when you step on that step, you go right into quicksand. But you got to be able to pull yourself back out of it again. So everybody's looking for these steps, and there are no steps. Those steps never end. And you just can't climb steps. Sometimes you got to crawl those steps, and you finally get to the top, and everything shifts.
It's not about external validation, it's about your relationship to yourself. You know, and you know when your head hits the pillow at night and when you wake up in the morning what that relationship looks like. And if that's missing something, and perhaps that's a little nudge or a call to action that you need to change things up a little bit.
It's always going to be the sticking point, and a lot of people, like I see, you know, they'll quit because it got hard. Or just because something isn't coming to them right away, they'll let up a little bit. Kobe, he's known for saying something that was quite profound. He said you have to, jumping on what you love, what you do every day. You have to love what you do every day, because those days that are hard, those days that suck, that's where the magic is. You go do it and you get your work in anyway, because that's where you're gonna find out who you are. That's where things are going to continue to happen. And you have to just love putting in the daily work, because that's another token in the bank, if you will. You're showing up, you know, striving towards your goal. When people get the challenges, they stop. You know, it's not just going to come to you. But you have to just stick with it. You have to really, really believe in what you're doing. And you have to have faith that it's going to work out. But you got to keep putting the work in, because if you don't, it's not going to come to you. You know, going to fall in your lap. And sometimes when you know that, all right, I'm going through it right now, this is tough, let's just take an inch forward. Let's go an inch forward today. That'll be better than going backward. You don't want to go back, but I think sometimes just knowing that it's going to be a challenge. I think sometimes that's a good thing to know. If we know, okay, I want to, this is my goal. Boy, it's going to be a lot of obstacles in there. So let me get in shape. Let me get in shape in my mind and my body to be able to navigate to get to where I need to get to.
Well, you come into the world alone and you die alone, my friend. And you've got to be on this journey of growth for yourself. It can't be contingent on another person. And I think a lot of people who are in pain or looking, you know, for some, you know, grounding, often look to that other person. If I date that person, then I'm going to be okay. It's never the case. Like, you've got to be okay with yourself in order to attract that person, you know, into your life to begin with. I don't know how you can compel that in somebody. They've got to figure that out for themselves.
Thinking of myself as the person who's just good enough to recognize that other people are better, stop doing that. And now start thinking relentlessly about acquiring new skills. That's it, like whatever. Be inspired by people that are better than you, great, that's amazing. But don't sit there and lament, which is what I used to do, that you're not as good as them. Find out, how close can you get?
Most times we live a life of have to do. I have to study, I have to work, I have to do this, and I have to do that. I have to. Where did the love to go? We just end up living a life of have tos. And I forgot about our own selves. By subscribing to the pressures that come from all fronts in our lives, we've forgotten to live our own lives. We don't have time to unwind. We don't have time to spend with our own selves. We don't have time to be with nature and take a deep breath and just relish the crispness of the air. We don't have the time to do all of that. When the pressures are so high and the pace is so fast, we just don't have time for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
We are just so existentially in crisis all the time, and I just wonder if this life wasn't meant to be full of love and joy and happiness. I just think we're getting it a little bit wrong. So life is hard. None of us get out of here unscathed. It is hard. I'm not a Pollyanna minimalist on the things that cause us suffering.
If you don't fix yourself with limited identities, if you do not compare yourself with anything, if you explore and not… See, if you want this tree to grow to its fullest thing, that's why I said not the root. If you count the fruits, maybe that tree is bearing more fruit than this one. That's not the point. You nurture the root. The fullest possible nurture if you give to the root, what it has to become, it'll become. A blade of grass cannot become a tree. But is it not wonderful?
So I think success is a funny thing, which is we all seem to pursue it, but we don't know how to measure it or actually how to define it. So how do you pursue something that you can't measure? I think we must all stop measuring promotions, salaries, and these things, but rather measure the momentum of your career. Does my career have momentum? Can I see it moving in the right direction? Can I see it gathering moss, you know? Can I see that it's becoming easier for me to keep the momentum? It's becoming easier for me to grow the size of this thing. It's requiring less effort. That's the thing we need to measure. Yeah. That's the thing that we need to be cognizant of, which is the momentum of our careers, not just the markers that we think define our success.
We snap, we react at the drop of a hat just because we are out of balance. People who have a balanced life know how to handle pressure. People whose lives are not balanced sink under pressure.
I know from living that if you quit whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. There's not even a remote possibility. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure.
Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible. You have to be able to see what doesn't exist in order to be able to pull off or achieve what in most people's minds seems to be impossible. Only those that can see the invisible, being able to see what's not there. What is your vision? What is your idea? What was that God-sent dream?
And so whatever the volcano is, you have the capacity to take that volcano on, the capacity to jump in it and find your true identity. Here's another thing that keeps a lot of people from taking on the volcanoes and jumping into the challenges that they're confronted with: the fear of making mistakes or not feeling good enough. Guess what? You're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Guy said this, and it's true. He said the person who's never made a mistake hasn't done anything.
Success and failure are generally slow processes. Either slowly building things up or gradually tearing them down. And that's why I say you've got to pay attention. You have to watch. You have to watch every single second. Because those seconds, they turn into minutes. And minutes turn into hours, and hours turn into days, and days turn into years.
I may be weak, I'm going through something. It doesn't change who I am. What I'm going through does not change who I am.
You're going to make some mistakes if you want to do something out here. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're going to feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes. It goes with the territory.
To be relentless. You have to never let off the gas, never stop, never quit. Never allow anyone to talk you out of the dream, the vision, and ideas that God has sent you.
That second that just went by, that counted. And so did that second. And so did that one. And in those precious seconds, you were either building or you were decaying. You were either gaining ground or you were losing ground. In that second.
Like, I believe in life, you got two separate people. You got champions, right? And they go through things in life that are self-inflicted. They bring it upon themselves, they get through it, they say, man, I got through it. And then you got warriors, right? They walk outside, the wind hits them, knocks them down, they pick up their stuff, they adjust, and they get moving, and they deal with the adversity that they didn't expect. They set their perspective right, and they figure out a way to embrace it and add value to every environment that they go into and every person's life that they come in contact with.
Now, when you're trying, you're going to fail. But quitting, just stopping, that was the number one thing I understood. And then number two, you have to make sure that your dreams, your aspirations and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
God didn't bring you in this world to be average. God didn't bring you in this world to wake up and die one day and just be another person that lived and died and didn't do anything significant in this world. Let me say something. It's very important that you listen to this. Most of you, you're so consumed with everything that's going on in the world. This is the reasons you haven't figured out your own life yet. You can never shine trying to sit on someone else's sun. You can never figure out who you are if you're consumed in everything that everybody else is and what they're doing and the moves that they're making.
When you are struggling with what to do, who you are, what's your next move, you are in an identity crisis. You are struggling with just who you are. See, you have not discovered who you are. You have to discover who you are in order to move you forward.
Every single day. So, you want to get better? You want to self-improve? Stop looking for a shortcut and go find your alarm clock and find your discipline and find your guts and your passion and your drive and find your will. And then you will find your freedom.
So a lot of people, if you've never made any major blunders, made some major mistakes, taken some serious risks, you haven't started living yet. You don't call that living. Not rocking the boat, going through life quietly, tiptoeing safely to an early grave.
You have to think the way everybody else doesn't. Otherwise, you're just going to produce ordinary results. The world is full of ordinary people. Full of ordinary people. You know how they love to say, you know, greatness is inside all of us. Yeah, you know what? It is true. Greatness is inside all of us. But for most individuals, that's where it stays.
I'm talking about every single day, the spirit, the disposition of being able to show up on the strength of our integrity and our character and bring everything we got into an environment. That doesn't mean we'll always be our best, but I'm talking about specifically being able to bring our best. Elite are considered the elite not because of their rise, the elite are considered the elite because of their response.
You've got to die as you are now. You've got to be willing to give up who you are now for what you can become. There's no place for it. In order to do something you've never done, you've got to be someone you've never been.
Those I can't catch a break guys, get them the away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't buy it. Because everybody has bad breaks. I've had a shit ton of bad breaks. But you know what I did? I stayed up. And I thought through it. And I figured out what the I did wrong. And then I went back. And I've had a bunch of shitty breaks. Everybody has. But you got to realize when you have the shitty breaks what that is. It's an opportunity for you to reassess, reboot, get better, figure out another way, find another way through. It's just little challenges.
You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. You have something special. You have talents and abilities in you that you don't even know.
I think if you can put others before yourselves, and if we do that, then you can find some happiness. At a minimum, you can leave the world in better condition than you found it. And if you can pull that off, I think if you can pull that off, then you can die with a clean conscience, and you can die with a smile on your face. And you can leave a smile on the face of the people you left behind.
The first one, this too shall pass. Whatever you encounter, whatever you go through. And I say this obviously referring to tough moments. Right? This too shall pass, right? Every storm has an expiration date. Every storm runs out of rain. This too shall pass.
The idea is that you have to walk through the entire world in order to get to the center. So you have to go everywhere and do everything to turn yourself on enough so that you can handle what's coming towards you. And you do that voluntarily. You open yourself up to the challenge. You know, all you do if you shrink from life, the more you shrink, the smaller you get, unsurprisingly, right? And the more you move forward confidently and willing to take on the challenge and the potential danger, then the stronger you get.
You know why people aren't successful? Because they're afraid of success. Because what happens once you get to success? All the stuff you have to keep doing to stay there.
Will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew a way into any goal. Though walls of granite intervene, you will be what you will to be. Let failure find its false content.
And so therefore, as you look at yourself, you've got to have this vision of yourself beyond your circumstances. You've got to see yourself every day. I can do this. I can make this happen. I'm blessed and highly favored. Good things are supposed to happen to me. You've got to see yourself every day.
Day after day after day in the face of so much defeat, but to have the will and determination to keep going. Success is going from failure to failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. The success is going from the failure to the failure to the failure and still being excited to show up.
Everyone in life has a situation at some point. You either become the victim or it catapults you. Every single individual.
Get it, you might be going through a storm, you might be going through a struggle, you might be going through a hard time, and I get it, it's valid. You might be going through something that's unfair. As I said before, the thing about the storms are gonna come. You know what I mean? And you gotta understand this, when storms come, you gotta allow the storm to do what the storm does. You gotta make sure your perspective is your power, not your prison. I get it, maybe your life may suck, somebody did you wrong, I get it. But what you gonna do about it? It's life. Bills are gonna keep coming, the time is gonna keep ticking, the globe is gonna keep spinning, people are gonna keep living, and you have to do something about it with your life.
Every hero you guys had was called an idiot, crazy, a loser. You must break society's status quo. Status quo is normality. It's alive but not living. It's death on a stick, guys. The belief of the individual can overcome thousands of followers. One person with a belief overrides thousands of people with just intent.
Any negative voice that ever entered into your space that said you couldn't was lying. The truth is they didn't want you to. I've been given a chance, and that's all you've ever needed. You've needed an opportunity, and you needed the wind beneath your sail that God gave you called breath. When God gave you the breath, He gave you His endorsement that said, I still have plans for you. I know the plans I have for you. You will prosper, you will do well, you will overcome, you will win, because you were never made to be a loser.
You say you want to be great, let your actions, let your words display that. If you say you love the cat that's next to you, let your actions and let your words display that. If you say you really want to be elite, let your actions and let your words display that. I want you to get the spirit. That's uncommon. Right? You can't be a common man and do uncommon things. That's uncommon. That's an uncommon mentality. That's an uncommon spirit. That's an uncommon disposition. Don't ask me if I'm right. No, we not. We said we was gonna dominate these cats, and we ain't dominating. Every single day, do you dominate in what you do?
Look at this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. The little lion comes, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. They're barking at him, laughing at him. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, until one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
Because it's a compliment when people say you're good. But if you settle for being good, you'll miss out on the whole boat called greatness. You see, greatness is a boat trip away because there's a great gulf between those who are good and those who are great. No one remembers those who are simply good. We remember those who are great.
Never quit. And if you feel like your life is in a place where you can't get any lower, and you don't think you can find any way out, because that means the ultimate challenge is ahead of you. It means you can only go up. And it also means that things are gonna be tough. Things are gonna be tougher than anything you can imagine. But that storm that you're in, from your perspective, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. But I'm telling you, it is not.
So one of the things, in order to make this your decade, in order to reach your goals, you've got to find some reasons that make you strong, some reasons that will make you hang in there when times get rough, because they're going to get rough. It's going to be very challenging. Whenever you decide that you want to grow, whenever you decide that you want to go to another level, all hell will break loose. Everything that will happen, the brother that can happen will happen, and at the worst possible moment. They call it Murphy's Law.
Will become a beacon, a light, an example, a demonstration of what's possible, of what it looks like when hard work meets opportunity, and when opportunity met you, you became you. Now take a deep breath, gauge your day. Think about what's ahead of you and go after it with a new gusto, with new purpose, because you are here and it's an obstacle and you are designed to overcome them.
But the storm is not everything. And it won't last forever. You can get out of the storm, and you will get out of the storm. And when you get out, you're gonna see the sun again. But right now, you're being tried. You're being forged. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test.
So you gotta have some reasons that when life knocks you down, and it's going to. Hello, it's going to knock you down. When people disappoint you, and that's going to happen. When they betray you, and that's going to happen. When they lie to you, and that's going to happen. When they say, oh, you can count on me, and they won't show up, and that's going to happen. When you want to throw in the towel and give up yourself, and that's going to happen. When life collapses on you and catch you on the blind side, it drop you to your knees and start choking you. You got a dream? No, I ain't got no dream. And that's going to happen. What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason. Because when life had knocked me down, I said, life, I'm doing this because I want to make my mama proud of me. I'm doing this because I want my children to have a better life than what I have. I'm doing this because all my life I've been told I'd be a loser, that I wouldn't make it.
Don't fail the test. Don't give in. Don't quit.
You ready? You're hopelessly average. You are not special. You're just like everyone else. And yay! Because that means all you have to believe about yourself is that you can change. That it is in your fundamental nature to grow and get better. That we all inside of us have this deep desire to get better. So I have a dream. Okay, fantastic. I have one question. What skills does your dream require you to obtain? If you want to be great, if you want to play on a world stage, you're going to pay an extraordinary price to become the person that you want to become.
After you lose, or when you get knocked out, stay down there for a minute. Understand why you lost. What were the reasons? Why are you down here? Why did you lose? So every time I lost, I stayed down for a second, minutes, hours, days. But when I stood up, I was different. Now you start putting the pieces that are necessary to win over and over and over again.
We all have dreams. I had it when I was younger. So I figured the best place to make those dreams come true are in isolation. So I walked into isolation as David Goggins, but I walked out of isolation as Goggins. When you become a savage, is in isolation. You go in isolation, and that's when your mind changes. That's when your focus changes. Your dedication changes. Use it to gain strength, gain focus. Isolation is the key to strengthening your mind. Come on, savage.
What do you do when 1,000 other people want exactly what you want? What if you're not the only one that wants what you want? What if there are thousands of other people who want what you want? You have to outwork them. You gotta outgrind them. You gotta get up earlier. You gotta stay up later.
Everybody's got a dream, everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? And when you're trying to do something that you're truly passionate about, there is no plan B. Think about that for a second. Michael Jordan won 6 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls because he was committed to plan A, not plan B. Plan B sucks.
Sometimes we get stuck in these situations where we start looking to other people for our self-esteem. And sometimes we find ourselves looking in broken mirrors to get a reflection of ourselves.
You are where you are because of the choices you've made and the skill set you've built. Period. End of story. Now, why is that the best news ever? Because it means you're in control. You've steered yourself to exactly this point. But now that you take that control back and you recognize that you can go anywhere you want, become anyone you want to become, but you're going to have to put in the work, now you can decide whether you want to put in that work or not.
Till I get through it, I'm gonna be a better servant because of it. There's this quote that says, you go through the storm and you're not supposed to be the same person on the other side of the storm because that's the purpose of the storm. Like when I go through it, I'm like, man, I'm gonna be a better servant, better leader, better team member as a result of it. I'm not gonna resist the opposition. I'm not gonna resist the adversity. I'm not gonna resist the challenge. My favorite quote is the quote by Dr. King that says, you judge the character and caliber of a person not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character and caliber of a person by where they stand in times of challenge and opposition. Everybody can smile when the sun out. Everybody can be happy when they're making money.
When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, it's just what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain, of how many times you're gonna have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. And that's your new norm.
I stopped stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me, and I said I'm gonna grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power. Every single day, I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. Now let me say this before I move forward, and I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture.
The way to win this game called life is not money, it's not fame, it's not other people's adoration. It is quite simply what you think about yourself when you're by yourself. It's fulfillment. Fulfillment is working really hard to gain a set of skills that are of value to you, that allow you to serve not only yourself but others. If you do that, if you work really hard to become something, to have a power, building things, whatever the power is that you want, and then you put it to use in service of yourself and others, you put it to use in service of something bigger than you, then you'll have fulfillment. Then you'll have something that the ancient Greeks called techne. It's something that no one can take away from you. It's something born of a cold shower, of working out in the gym, of not eating the thing that you want, of getting out of bed immediately when it's time, getting up, studying and practicing long after it stopped being fun. That's fulfillment.
If you want something, what does it mean to want it? And what it means is to sacrifice whatever is necessary to get it.
Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. You would rather find purpose than a job or career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history.
We've been told two lies in our life. The first lie is, you're nothing. You're not worth anything. You haven't got anything. That's the first lie. The second lie we've all been told is you can be anything. It's a lie. It's not true. The way we're wired defines what we can do with that wiring. And therefore the truth is, you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are.
Is to give up desiring as much as you can. Don't want to go beyond the point of which you're capable. Not only is it the middle way between the extremes of ascetic discipline and pleasure-seeking, but it's also the middle way in a very subtle sense. Don't desire to give up more desire than you can. And if you find that a problem, don't desire to be successful in giving up more desire than you can.
So if I had a gift to give you, it would be maybe make a different decision. And the decision is that no matter what happens in your life, you're going to live in a beautiful state. A beautiful state. And that could be happy, that could be grateful, that could be being generous. Those are all beautiful states, aren't they? It could be curious, it could be fun, it could be playful. You're not limited to one state, but it's different than suffering. And most people suffering, and all suffering I've ever seen, suffering always comes because you're obsessed about something related to you. You can only be depressed if you're focusing on yourself.
The weeds are greed, negativity, manipulation, power, control. So every day I'm literally gardening my heart by pulling out every weed and plucking out every weed that I no longer want to plant in my house. Because guess what? Weeds end up looking like seeds. Often in our life, the weeds and the seeds look exactly the same when they start growing. And that's one of the biggest challenges. We're wired for generosity, but we're educated for greed. We're so deeply wired for generosity, but everything's trying to pull us away from that.
It's about you. It's about how you think what you should have done or shouldn't have done, or what someone did to you or didn't do to you in the past or the future, which don't even exist. So I have a simple goal. My goal is help people make a decision that says, I don't know what's going to happen. Not positive thinking bullshit, just the truth. So if that's going to happen, I say make a decision now that says, I'm going to live in a beautiful state and I'm going to find beauty in whatever life brings me.
If it's meant for you, I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. The light of new realization shines on you today. But the challenges that you choose to confront, as you commit to your past, press on with pride and press on with purpose.
I'm so glad you pressed play, because the play button set everything going forward. It put it in motion. You see, that's exactly what we got to do with life. We got to come off the pause. We got to come off the things that have made you second guess yourself, thinking twice about whether you should or shouldn't. Your dreams are not sitting in the hospice.
One of the things that you do if you want to inspire others is get your act together, because you inspire most through example. It's much more powerful than words. Words are very powerful if they're also accompanied by example. But the best thing you can do is start putting things together around you.
We are not going to sit there and think about what could have been if only I had done this, if this hadn't happened, if I hadn't lost my mom, my dad, my friend, my son, my cousin, if that hadn't happened, my whole life would be, if I didn't fail, if I didn't get fired, if this divorce hadn't hit me, I would be so different. All of those things have happened. And you said, well, I needed to clear my head, and it took a moment. You're in between rounds. You are going to get back up and have to fight again. This is not your quitting point. This is not your stopping point. Listen, the cut man of life is your will, your determination, your aspirations. I'm going to put you back in this fight.
If you're struggling right now and you're having a hard time and you're pissed off and you're frustrated, know two things. One, you're not alone. Two, this is necessary for you to get where you want to go. And if you quit, if you falter, if you stop, all the pain will be for nothing. And you need to remember that.
Those of you that are achieving, one of the reasons the achievement is slowed down is you've allowed yourself to feel less desperate. When you were broke and starting your business, or when you were brand new in your relationship and you were desperate to get her to love you or desperate to get him to love you, you took massive big action. So when you remove desperation, all this bullshit
creeps into your life where you think you have to have the perfect plan and look the perfect way and have the perfect thoughts and be all zen and perfect. What you need is to be desperate. What you need is to get after it.
What kind of legacy do I want to leave? What kind of statement do you want to make with your life? What 3 things you once said when you die? What contribution do you want to make? I don't know what you want to do. I don't know what you want to achieve with your life. Here's what I know about you, and about you, and about you, and about you. That you have greatness within you. That you have things and gifts and talents that you've been bestowed with. And decide to make and leave a legacy with your life. I say to you that the planet will never be the same again because you showed up.
If you're not happy with your life, if you're miserable, you sit on the edge of your bed and you think, is there anything I can change in what I'm doing that is going to make this less awful than it has to be?
Because there's more in you. You are a champion, you were born a champion, but until you believe it, until you see it, no one else will. You got to get up now. I don't care if you've been knocked down in life. I don't care if you thought the one person you needed in life is gone. You got to go look in the mirror and see that person is still there. God, I thank you for making me the way that I am. You got to speak to yourself as if it's already happened. I thank you for making me a champion. You got to speak it as if it's already been acquired. God, I thank you that you've doubled my business. You got to speak it like it's already happened. That means overcoming the things that put your life on pause. If it means going to the gravesite and saying finally, I understand, you're gone.
Simply this, that if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after this thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulf, sickness, or pain, or body and brain can keep you away from a thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it.
I'm going to take everything that I'm feeling, I'm going to turn those pains into a platform, and I'm going to turn that platform onto a place, a stage that everyone can see that I didn't break. I did something with it so that at the end of your life, when the family is gathered around that hospital bed, and they look at you, and they say, you're a warrior, thank you.
Fear is a compass that tells me where I need to go. If you have the fear of speaking, it probably means that you need to speak. If you have the fear of leaving a situation, it probably means that you need to leave it. If you have a fear of going for your dreams, it probably means that you probably need to go for that thing that you're fearing. Because on the other side of fear is the next level of you. On the other side of fear is something greater for you. And this ain't no motivational, inspirational talk. This is real. And some of us, we live our whole life in fear. It ends now. I don't care if you've been living 52 years, 72 years. I don't care if you've been living a year. It ends now.
Nothing great is going to come without you having to deal with what I call adversity and pain tolerance.
See, we take so many things for granted. Some people talk about, well, the alarm clock woke me up. No, it didn't. The alarm didn't wake you up. No, God shook you, allowed you to hear the alarm. Now, if God don't shake you to wake you up, your alarm clock, like waking up is not something you're capable of doing yourself. That's a gift.
You cannot allow your mind to open up for the possibility of it can be done.
You know, very few people bet on the underdog. But if you would have, you would have won big. And that happened to be us. We bet on ourselves.
Basically, two kinds of people in life. They're winners and they're losers. And the definition is this. Losers take things that happen to them and that they feel inside that suck, and they wallow, they use it for self or outward destruction. Winners take whatever they feel it, and they transmute it into things that are good for themselves and for the world.
We are 100% responsible for our own lives.
There's somebody out there training every day, and when you meet, they will win.
And the only message I want to get across to people is once you change one thing, your mindset.
Rest at the end, not in the middle. But I love this question, which is, what would you do if you weren't afraid?
You put so much practice into you that you can ignore every one of them that are telling you you're not gonna make it, and still be able to make it. Because you have put the practice in that you know this is the process. It's such a daunting task that all the voices are saying no. But you still have the conviction that I know I can do this.
I always thought joy was, oh, I get this and then I'm happy, or I do this and then I'm happy, or I get her and then I'm happy, or I make that and then I'm happy, or they respect me and then I'm happy. Or I always thought happiness was to be acquired by the things I would gain from life. That's why I was always grabbing. If I knew early on that happiness actually is in me offering all of my suffering up for other people as an instructive thing, or as something that could benefit man, then I maybe would have lived my life differently. So I guess the question I would ask anybody is, how do you use your suffering to tap into your joy?
The story of Abraham's a very cool story, because Abraham's like 80 years old, living in his father's tent, talk about failure to launch. And God shows up one day and says, you have to leave everything you know and journey out into the unknown. And you think, well, what is that? Well, that's the call to adventure. That's what it is. Man, he's thinking, things are pretty good in that tent. But, well, he goes on this tremendous adventure, and then he's the forefather of you know, biblically speaking, half the people on the planet. He has this tremendous adventure. Think, well, what do you set against the suffering of your life? Well, the adventure of your life. That's what you set against it. It's not safety. You forget about that. There's no safety for mortals, that's for sure. And besides, safety? That's what you want? You don't want that. You want adventure.
The rain's been coming down a bit this morning, and it would be the perfect excuse to not go for the run. And that's exactly why I'm out here, because when keeping your promises becomes more difficult and you keep the promise anyways, you are more and more resilient to the external world. I don't want luck and circumstance defining what I think of myself. So a change in the weather is not going to define my ability to keep a promise. I define that.
Look at my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole fucking stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities, all that shit. You gotta dive deep in that shit. It's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And you know, that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. And that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you become very unstoppable.
The most underrated superpower of any elite athlete is their ability to do it anyways. You're tired? You want to stay in bed? You want to skip the last few reps? You want to not put up the extra shots? You don't want to meal prep or eat the food that fuels your body? You don't want to stretch? That's great. You don't have to want to do it. The superpower comes from doing it anyways. You just do it. That's what separates the good from the great.
I'm not searching for happiness.
I'm searching for peace. So my state of what I'm aiming for, I would say it is peace. Because happiness for me, taken by this word, if there's happiness, there is sadness. If something can rise, something must fall. If you can attain something, there's something to lose. That's why it's difficult. That's why I stopped the moment. I don't know what type of happiness you mean. Being satisfied with where I'm standing, yes. Does it mean that I don't have hard moments? I have hard moments. And that's why for me, like, what is it I ultimately look for? I would call it, it's just peace.
Who you are when no one's watching, that's the version that matters the most. Not the one people praise, but the one that shows up when no one cares. That's the version that builds legacy. Because the work that counts the most is the work that no one sees. And if you can win in the dark, the light will take care of itself.
The easiest thing in life is to give up. Whatever you're focused on or whatever you're hopeful for, the hardest thing is to continue to keep going. But we have to. We have to continue to hold on, continue to keep your head up, continuing to march on ahead towards your dream and never losing sight of that and not being distracted, not giving up.
Somewhere inside you, that 9-year-old kid is still watching. That 9-year-old who dreamt big. And far ahead, the 90-year-old version of you is watching too. The one who knows how fast it all goes would give everything for one more chance. So they're both looking at you right now. The 9-year-old wants to believe in you, and the 90-year-old wants to be proud of you. If they both smile at who you're becoming, then keep going. You're making it count.
They threw everything at me. They did everything they could to try and get me off of track, to distract me, to take my mind off of the task at hand. And I never let that happen.
There's nothing more supreme than confidence. Confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. Applied properly, you're inconquerable. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're here for a purpose, to enrich the world. Your destiny is in your mouth and in your mind. Once you receive that level of confidence, it will surpass a genius.
They say you don't meet your true self until you're exhausted, because comfort hides the truth. But exhaustion drags it into the light, and what you find there, it's everything you've been avoiding. But it's you. The real you. The one stripped of ego. Nowhere else to run, nowhere else to be, except in the moment. And this is the inflection point. When the demons show up, are you the one who can stare darkness in the face and say, I hear you, but you don't get to decide? Or do you fold? Because when everything inside you screams quit, and you take one more rep, one more step, that's the real you. And that's where greatness lives.
You shackled your mind to have limits. And everybody has a limit, but find it first. I find it at times, but what happens is I then figure out how to get around it, through it, above it, climb over it, on that like limit of like, okay, I'm there. Okay, I failed, but I was right there. What did I miss? What the f did I miss? Oh, that's what I fucking missed. And then it happens.
What do you do after a loss? You have to take an inventory of what mistakes that were made. What could you have done? Whether you want to admit it or not, your mind will play the whole game on replay. Was it a play that you could have made? Is it a moment that you could have done something different? Had you put in one more rep? Had you been a little bit stronger? Did you get overpowered by someone? Did you underestimate the opponent? Why did you lose?
Every morning, every day of our lives, we have choices to make. You have the choice to stay in bed, to say, forget it, I'm not gonna work out today, or forget it, I'm not gonna work hard today. You always have a choice every single day of your life, so make the right decision.
You were born to do something great with your life. You're supposed to do something special, and you're gonna. I can promise you that you have all the potential in the world within you. And I know the rest of the world is probably telling you constantly to be average, to be ordinary. You know, there's different haters you have in your life. There's people who put you in your box. There's people who overlook you, that make you feel invisible. You're not even who you've already been in your life. Your past does not equal your future. Your present does not equal your future. And I just want to remind you officially that you can do something great with your life, and that you're destined to do something great with your life, and that you were born for a reason. So important that you know that you hear that from me today, and that you begin to believe it about yourself. Because if you don't believe that about yourself, there's no chance it's going to happen.
You can find an excuse of why you lost, or you can call it a lesson. Instead of saying I lost, start saying I got a lesson today, I learned today. When I see them again, they will see just how valuable that lesson was for me. We don't walk away from losses, we learn from them.
Don't allow fear of failure and the allure, the attractiveness of playing it safe in life to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here.
You're holding on to something. You're either holding on to an addiction that's holding you back, or you're holding on to a habit that you refuse to let go. There's an individual that's very close to you. It could be a family member. It could be in a relationship. It could be one of your closest friends. You should have made that decision a long time ago, but that's when your feelings are stronger than your mind. Your mind has to be stronger than the feelings, because that's what the dark side requires you to do. That's what winning requires. It requires you to make decisions, not suggestions. And when you make decisions, you have to answer the hard question. These days, people aren't willing to make decisions. They want others to make decisions for them, because when others make decisions for you, you always have an out. You can blame that person. You can blame that individual. This lifestyle, it's not for everyone. It's extremely intense. But I'm telling you, this is what the most successful individuals, they all go through this. Not just once, numerous times.
When I need you to protect your dreams, I need you to protect your vision. It's yours. And the things that we live, that's in our soul, the things that give us energy, it multiplies our life. But some of us, we've allowed opinions, we allow people that don't know what's best for us to tell us how to live our life. We allow people to put them on us. We allow people to project their limitations on us, and we start to live a limited life. At some point, you stop believing. At some point, you stop protecting your vision. At some point, you stop protecting your dreams, and you start to live the life that opinions created for you. You start to live a life that circumstances created for you, but you didn't live the life, and you're not living the life that God created for you. Don't allow circumstances to lie to you. Don't allow opinions to lie to you. Don't allow time to lie to you.
We take notes about what was the difference between winning and losing. Was it an inch of effort? Was it an ounce of sweat? Was it a matter of heart? And if it was, the pain you felt when you found that loss, the moment you thought about how that felt about losing, the embarrassment, the frustration, the disappointment. If I lose on a day, I don't lose my worth. My value is guaranteed. I have a spark of divinity given to me by God. I don't lose that if I lose a game. I don't lose that if I lose a job. I don't lose any of those things. I only lost in this moment.
It says we have no right to ask when a sorrow comes, why did this happen to me? Unless we ask the same question for every joy that comes our way. We have no right to ask when a sorrow comes, why did this happen to me? Unless we ask the same question when joy comes our way.
Because I believe, like, when you're really trying to accomplish something or become something different, there's supposed to be challenges present. It's supposed to be opposition present. It's supposed to be adversity present. When you're really trying to become something different. Every next level of my life demands a new version of me. It's supposed to be challenges present, right? Like, if you just can become the same person over and over and over because no obstacles, no opposition, you ain't growing. You're regressing, right? I firmly believe in the thought process, every single day you're either becoming better or you're becoming worse.
Same with our lives. If we're doing something great with our life, it's gonna take us 6 months to a year to see the positive result. And so don't let your ego get in the way of saying, man, I'm doing all this stuff and it's not working. There's a delayed gratification coming. At the same time, if you are winning right now, don't stop doing the things that got you where you are because you're only 90 to 120 days away from a setback. This is how the ego gets us.
Become unapologetic of who the fuck you are in your life. If you get after it and you're a hard fucker, get after it. You gotta make yourself better than what you think you are. And what that requires is people not understand you, not know you, not get you at all. Look at you like you're off. Look at you like you have a problem. Be unapologetic.
How you bounce back will tell you just how tall you can one day stand. There is no shame in falling. For a just man will fall 7 times, but he will rise up on the 8th.
To find your way in life is not an external search, it's an internal search. Because God equipped you the moment He gave birth to you. God equipped you at birth with what you needed. He gave all of you a gift, all of you. Every last one of you, you're gifted. God never created a soul without giving them a gift. All of you sitting in here were given a gift at birth. He put it inside you. You ain't got to look under the ocean. It ain't on the mountain. It ain't under no rocks. He gave you a gift. It is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. That's the thing you should pursue. The scripture says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of important men. That's what your gift will do for you.
There's a purpose to your pain. There's a reason why you have had to endure. You may not see it now, you may not feel it right now, but there is a purpose in our pain. Sometimes the reason why we've been given these problems, these painful moments, is because there was a preparation that is needed. We must go through the healing. We must go through the revealing that all these problems, all these trials, all of this pain has caused you so that you can become an elevated version of you.
If you break, the fight isn't over. In fact, if you break, the fight is just beginning. And as you crawl up and out of that dismal and wretched place, as you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
If you look deep in your heart, your joy, like the more joy you can hold, comes from the amount of sorrow that has been your burden. And so the ego and our scared selves judge tragedy, or maybe it's not tragedy, maybe it's adversity, as bad, and let us rush away from it. Do not run away from your suffering. Befriend it, appreciate it, embrace it, for there your joy lives. And for there your joy lies. And that's why the greatest amongst us have been hurt the most.
Anyone who's successful has failed much more than you know. It's like you look at somebody who's an unbelievable athlete, somebody who's an unbelievable entertainer, speaker, communicator, artist. They didn't just show up that way. They are being rewarded in public for what you practice in private consistently. We're all rewarded in public for the things that we consistently practice and refine in private. And so you see that person, you think they're a genius, but if you watch, they've been failing more than anybody else. They just failed more often, so they learn quicker.
Do the interior work required to get to a level where the negative opinions and the chattering voices of the cynics do not knock you off your ambition. They do not knock you off your vision. They do not deplete your game. You see, that's the interior capability and capacity that's required from someone who wants to really be a history maker. You have to be so strong in your own skin that when people dismiss your ideas or they don't understand it or they laugh at you, you simply keep on going.
See, there's a purpose in your pain. Sometimes you can go through life and you can wonder why. Why do I have to endure? Why did I have to go through this? Why was I shortchanged in the physical department? Why was I shortchanged in the financial? But then there was a hunger that was also placed there as well, in the belly of you, in the core of you.
The time is now. The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great.
There's something you want to do, and I believe that all of us were born with a purpose, that all of us have something that we are supposed to do, that all of us have some goodness within us, and that goodness gives us a responsibility to manifest our greatness. And when you know that, you can feel it in your guts, and you know that you're deliberately operating below your potential. You've gotten comfortable. You stop expanding, you stop stretching, you stop challenging yourself. Let me share something else with you. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, but it's necessary.
But there is something beyond your doubt that is greater, and it's called faith. It's the faith that you can rebound from this. It's the faith that you can overcome it. It's the faith that you can change lives. You are that unique. There are experiences that you are going through that don't make sense now. But the day is going to come when you'll look back over your life. You'll look back over 10 years. You'll look back over 5 years, a year from now, and say, it was worth it all. Because the payoff that you're going to get from it is that you realize that the purpose in your pain was so that you can change.
Massive action is the cure-all. Massive action is the cure-all. If you're having a difficult time with something, your relationship isn't where you want it to be, your finances are not where you want to be, your body's not where you want to be, your business is not where you want to be, you need to take massive action. And if that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. Keep going with massive action and you will find the way, because it will give you momentum.
It's only natural to wonder, what do I do now? I listened to everyone. I went to school. I got good grades. I dedicated myself. Will this mean I'll automatically be successful? Will a job come to me, look for me, give me the opportunity? I'll walk in and will it be fulfilling? No. If all you're doing is waiting for a door to open up, you've made a mistake. You got to grab it by the hinges and rip it off and open up doors yourself. You've got to desire more than a paycheck. You've got to enter into a workplace with a mindset that I came to make an impact. I came to find my meaning, my purpose, to follow my passion.
Because to not make a decision, it also has a cost. And sometimes the cost of not making a decision is far worse than the cost of making a decision, even if the decision is risky. And so one of the things you can derive from that, and this is very useful, I think, is that contemplate your mortality, so to speak. You're screwed no matter what you do. You know, and that actually frees you, is that you have path A that has catastrophes and you have path B that has catastrophes, and you don't get to have the no catastrophe path, but you get to pick which one. And that's really something, because if you know that there's terrible risk associated with everything that you do and don't do, then you can afford to take some risks. Despite the fact that your life is essentially catastrophic, you can make a covenant with the highest ideal, and that will take you through it the best way possible.
We aren't happy because we're living in a time that is done. We aren't happy because we're trying to change something that can't be changed. We aren't happy because we're still hoping and wishing things can go back to how they used to be and how they were. It is impossible to move forward with your life. It's impossible to move on with your life if you are still trying to recreate something and go back to a time that is done. And a lot of us are what we're doing, we're hoping and praying to bring things back in our life that aren't good for us.
Everybody on the face of this planet wants something. From California to Boston to New York to Atlanta to Florida, you can go to somebody and say, hey man, what do you want? Man, I want this. I want a house for my family. I want this much money in the bank. I want to crush it in my... Everybody wants something. It's like that quote that says, everybody wants to win, but everybody doesn't have the will to prepare to win. Everybody wants the victory, right? Everybody wants it, right? The question that changed, it was no longer about what do you want? Now it's about what are you willing to go through in order to get it?
Your dreams are too big, too important, too valuable, too impactful in the lives of others for you to just settle. You gotta believe that there's some reason you were brought here. You are not a robot. You're not to follow the path that is pre-programmed by others. You're supposed to look at the script and rewrite the ending the way you want. There's more to what you've been called to do than acceptance. You've come to make disturbance into the atmosphere. The earth should know that there's something different about your arrival.
I would say that not only do you want to stop being scared and do that thing that you don't know if you can do or not, but you know what you got to do is you got to start taking the steps now. Because when you're 18 years old, your life seems like it's gonna last forever. And I will tell you right now, it's not gonna last forever. And those years go by like a summer's day. And the next thing you know, you look up and you're 36 years old, or you're 44 years old. And that time's gone. You cannot get it back. You cannot get time back. So those dreams that you have, those goals that you have, don't put them off another second. Not 1 second. Get on them. And go out and make them happen starting right now.
Happiness is not an external thing, it's an inside job. Stop depending on things outside of you to make you happy. Stop depending on things outside of you to give you peace. Stop depending on things outside of you to give you joy. Stop depending on things outside of you to make you love yourself. Those things are an inside job. Happiness comes from within. You shouldn't be dependent on something or someone to give you something that you should be giving yourself.
Because you are different. You're so uniquely different that there is absolutely nothing like you to ever be born unless you decide to carbon copy yourself after someone else. You gotta get up. You gotta desire. You gotta justify the reason why you were given all these gifts. And the only way to do it is if you gotta put yourself through the grind. You gotta find out if I go through the fires of life, will I come out as gold? Or is everything that I'm made of wood, stubble, and hay? Am I only standing because others have held me up? Or have I gotten a backbone that everything that I've gone through have made me strong and firm?
because they've already said no to themselves. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no. See, 87% of our self-talk is negative. So you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to say yes to your dreams. Why not? Why not me? Don't spend time like most people going through life complaining.
You have to realize you are one of a kind. Do something with it. Become something with it. Stand out in such a way that there is a legacy. And that legacy is a thing that lingers so that your children can look up to you and admire. You got to think about, if this is the last play, this is my senior year, this is it for me. Will you leave that legacy? Will anyone ever remember that you were number 36, 44, or whatever your number is? Will they know that your name? Will they know that your name mattered? The name on the front is the team. The name on the back is you. What will you become? What legacy will you leave? What matters most to you in life? It ought to be about the legacy. It ought to be about making sure that you became more with what you had than anyone thought possible. If you've been frustrated because it just seems like you can't get a break, then welcome to the club. All of us have been there. All of us must go through that. But understand, in those broken moments, in those broken pieces, in those fragments of your life, there is a puzzle being put together by the hand of God through your hard work and through your experiences. You only see part of it because the water looks murky. But if you can just let the mud settle of life, you can look through and finally see there's a bigger picture.
People have problems, and they're often annoyed and oppressed by the fact they have problems. But first of all, you don't have all the problems in the world. You have your problems and the problems that bother you. And you might ask yourself, well, why do those problems bother you and not other problems? And I would say maybe it's because in those problems you actually find your destiny.
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right. You learn nothing from winning. You only learn from your failures.
If you don't have what you want, stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money, you don't have the time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats, and you will take the island because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, tend to succeed.
I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you were raised. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care about any of that shit. If you do the work consistently, if you invest in yourself consistently, 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. 2 + 2 is going to equal 4. In 10 years of motherfucking work, when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend, is going to pay off. You can do this.
Your sacrifices, the phrases and things that people placed in your head that you could not, that tried to derail you, have to come into conflict with the things that are said within you that says, I can do it. I know I can overcome it. You have to understand that life also goes through phases. There are segments and sections of your life that are going to make you have to develop patience.
Man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Yet he dismisses without notice his own thought, because it's his own. In every work of genius, we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty. We often reject our thoughts, and we see the things that we think of as grand and as genius, and we reject them because they're our own. Treasuring our divinity instead of being terrified of it. Knowing that I am always connected to my source. There is no way that I cannot, because it is in you, and I am in you, and you are in me, and you can never be separated from it. There is no place that this source is not. It beats everybody's heart. It opens all the flowers, and you're always connected to it.
Every time I've lost, people say you gotta jump right back up. I disagree with that. After you lose, or when you get knocked down, stay down there for a minute. Understand why you lost. What were the reasons? Why are you down here? Why did you lose? So every time I lost, I stayed down for a second, minutes, hours, days. But when I stood up, I was different. I was smarter. Now you start putting the pieces that are necessary to win over and over and over again.
Sometimes we get stuck in these situations where we start looking to other people for our self-esteem, and sometimes we find ourselves looking in broken mirrors to get a reflection of ourselves.
You don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to beat yourself up over the head. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me.
There is nothing on the outside of greatness but good. But good is on the outside of what's capable for you. But you can never get to good, you can never get to great without going through the bad.
You've got to bet on you. You believe in everybody else, you clap for everybody else, you support everybody else, you're baking cakes and making cookies for everybody else. But when are you going to look in the mirror and believe in the darn person you see? It's about time for you to believe in you, because you got it.
Those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream.
Everyone in the world has a list of things they think they should do. I should lose weight. I should work out. I should spend more time with my kids. I should work harder. I should make more calls. I should. And then you know what? People don't do their shoulds and they get mad at themselves. What changes people is when your should becomes a must. When suddenly the thing you said should happen has to happen. If you want to take the island, burn the boats.
Bad times, good times, great times, they're overcome in the mind. Life is a mirror that reflects your thoughts back to you. It shows you exactly what you thought in life, what you were thinking about, what's been going through your head. Look back over the last couple of years of your life and you can see exactly what you thought. Did you play it safe? Did you have a business idea or concept that you could have given birth to? In fact, you're the only one that could do it. You're the only one that can do it. But you have to be willing to let go of the safety net Because at some point you're going to have to be the high wire act of your whole life. Something that you have to step out on faith and believe that the steps that I have taken, the steps that I am on, are a solid foundation built on a faith that cannot be moved, that is not shakeable, that is not deniable. Everything about you has to be focused on chasing down every ounce of greatness that you have in you and wringing it out until you're absolutely empty of every self-doubt and everything that had pulled you back or held you back from becoming your absolutely best.
The lessons always come before the blessings. And so when it's time to learn the lessons, meaning when you go through something, you're going to learn some lessons, but it's not always easy to extract lessons from a bad situation. These are not tears of sorrow. These are tears of joy, because the thing I understand, the only thing I need you to do is deal with it in the right way and watch what God not only does in your life, watch what God does in everybody's life that's connected to you. And the thing about every storm has an expiration date. The only thing you do for success, there's no discount. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. There is no discount. You can't get 50% off. It's sweat, it's blood, it's tears. There are no shortcuts to success. Stop thinking they are, and stop wanting people to put you somewhere that you didn't earn.
If you can never imagine yourself successful, then you can never become that way.
Every single day, the adversity, the opposition that life sent to break me, I wear it as a badge of honor because I understand every day of my life, I represent something. It's just like every individual in this room. When people see you, they think something.
Life is essentially suffering. And I believe that to be a fundamental truth, but perhaps not the most fundamental truth, because I think the most fundamental truth is that despite the fact that life is suffering, people can transcend that. And partly the way they transcend that is by pursuing things of value. And so that if there is no value proposition at hand, then you have no meaning to justify the difficult conditions of your life. You know, Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear any how. People who have no purpose in their life are embittered by the difficulties of their life. And they become first bitter, and then resentful, and then revengeful, and then cruel. And there's plenty of places to go past cruel. That's just where you start if you're really on a downhill path.
Those days when I'm tired or worn out or just sick of the grind, what do I do on those days? I go anyway. I get it done. Even if I'm just going through the motions, I go through the motions. Don't really want to work out? I work out. Don't really want to hammer on a project? I hammer on a project. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed? I get up and get out of bed. Don't take today off. Wait until tomorrow. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Shut that down. Do not listen.
You have to keep your mind fixed on what you want in life, not on the things that you don't want. Stop thinking about, I don't want a bad relationship. Think about, I want a great relationship. I don't want to be on a bad team. Then be the captain of a team that can overcome something. You got to be able to look at your enemies and look at them and remember that they're not your focus, they are a footstool. Step on those negative comments, step on those negative people, step on all of them and use them as a footstool to get to another level.
And by going through the motions, you overcame that weakness. You stayed on the righteous path, the disciplined path. You stayed on the war path. Right where you know you belong.
Can you be committed to the process of what you do without being emotionally attached to the result of what you do. Because a lot of people can be committed to the process of what they do if the results don't change. But the moment the result or the outcome changes of what they're chasing, they shut it down or they quit simply because the result changed. So can we be committed to the process of what we do, but not emotionally to the result of what we do, understanding every day I get up and give everything I got to everything I'm a part of simply because this is who I am. Like the only thing I need every day of my life is 86,400 seconds. That's it. Like I don't need, hey, you go hard, you'll get this. Like I don't need some reward. Like I don't need, the only thing I need is breath in my body, and I'm gonna flat out go and get it.
Chances are you will realize that the desire to rest was just weakness. It was the desire to take the path of least resistance, the downhill path, the downward path.
There is something great in you, but no one is ready for a thing until they believe they can acquire it. If you really want it, you gotta believe. You have to have faith, because you cannot do great things if you always do things in a small way. You want something great, you have to put something great on the line.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. If you're going to try, go all the way.
You think jealousy is hatred. That's not what it is at all. Jealousy is desire. You cannot be jealous of someone or something that you don't truly desire. Jealousy is a clue. It's a directional signal. It's a dot on the map of your life, and the desire is blocked by fear or comparison or insecurity or stress or whatever. So instead of aiming that jealousy out at the world or at myself, aim it into inspiration, aim it into motivation, explore it, lean into it, give yourself permission to have that thing, and then get off your ass and go make it happen.
If you take people, and I've told you this, and you expose them voluntarily to things that they are avoiding and are afraid of, that they know they need to overcome in order to meet their goals, their self-defined goals. If you can teach people to stand up in the face of the things they're afraid of, they get stronger. If for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, what would you be like?
Instead of going backward, instead of decaying, get stronger. Get better, grow and learn and develop and live. Live in defiance of the weakness and in rebellion against the decay. Fight them as they creep in with their offers of instant gratification and immediate rewards. Fight them for every inch they try to take. Do not surrender any ground ever. Hold the line.
What fears that I'm allowing to imprison me, that's keeping me from breaking out? You are strong enough to do it. You're strong enough, and your life is worth whatever you have to go through. To get past this addiction, whatever you have to do, this dream you got, whatever you want to do, will it be easy to just run out there and do it? No. Will it happen overnight? No. Will it be a struggle? Yes. Will there be times when you can't make ends meet? Yes, that's a part of it. Will there be times you won't know what to do? Yes, that's a part of it. Will you have some opposition? Will things go wrong sometimes? You will have many visits from Murphy.
There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
You judge the true character and caliber of a person, not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the true character and caliber of a person by where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. Because I believe, like, when you really trying to accomplish something or become something different, there's supposed to be challenges present. It's supposed to be opposition present. It's supposed to be adversity present. When you really trying to become something different, every next level of my life demands a new version of me. It's supposed to be challenges present, right? Like, if you just can become the same person over and over and over because no obstacles, no opposition, you ain't growing. You're regressing, right? I firmly believe in the thought process, every single day you either becoming better or you becoming worse. Like, I firmly believe at the end of this day, I'm gonna be a better man, or I'm gonna regress a little bit based upon decisions, choices.
Engage. Weakness is strong. I must be stronger. I must crush it into submission through force of will. So I savage the body. I push and pull and fight against gravity. I fight against fatigue and soreness and the weakness that says, give in. I will not give in. I will fight.
You say you want to be great, let your actions, let your words display that. If you say you really want to be elite, let your actions and let your words display that. That's uncommon, right? You can't be a common man and do uncommon things. That's uncommon. That's an uncommon mentality. That's an uncommon spirit. That's an uncommon disposition. Every single day, do you dominate in what you do?
So don't be finished. Be starting. Be alert. Be ready. Be attacking. Be relentless. Don't stop. Don't rest. Not until the enemy is completely destroyed.
Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. That I couldn't understand it then. But after I got through it, then I saw that that was preparing me for bigger and better things. That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now, so if it's hard, then do it hard.
Regret. Regret. The things I could have done differently or learned sooner. There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better. And we make so many mistakes. We are the product of our mistakes. And oftentimes the lesson is sitting in front of our face, there to be learned. But we miss it. Or we don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better until it punches us in the face. The most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. You have to open your mind, free your mind, so that you can learn and make real progress.
Inside of every man and woman is a fire, and this fire burns very bright. And if you look at it this way, that your fire might burn just as bright as mine, but it burns at a different color, then you have to do what's right for you. You have to follow your own radiance in life. And when people tend to start living other people's dreams out, why is that? Because you are not living your radiance. You are not listening to your radiance. You are living someone else's dreams that they have for you. What you might be doing is running someone else's playbook for your life. And if you're running someone else's playbook for your life, then you are gonna feel incongruent with your radiance. If your fire is burning orange, but someone says, go do this blue thing, while you are doing something, it is not the thing that's gonna give you a sense of fulfillment and passion, and therefore you are dying a slow death. You are committing suicide at the slowest rate possible.
You want to change your life and live better. Why? You must know your why, and you must have it be firm. What's your purpose? What's your gift? What's your talent? What's your reason in the morning? If you don't have one, you will find that you will default to the ones given to you by people that don't have to carry the burden of regret that you do, and you will. You can't abdicate the throne. Only you can assume that role.
See, here's what I'm looking at. What are the uses for your life right now that you haven't even reached for yet? See, I believe that when you don't have enough encouragement to act on your dreams or ideas, or you're not enlightened enough, that life will act on you. You've got to continue to work on yourself personally, to work on yourself professionally, to continue to achieve technical mastery of the information that's out here. You've got to set high standards that will begin to set the pace. You've got to decide to be relentless. You've got to decide never to give up. You've got to find some reasons within yourself that will give you the stamina when life catches you on the blind side to get back up again, to keep on calling and coming back again and again and again.
Who wouldn't want to do things over until you have it perfect? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. You get one shot. We get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life, that's all we've got. And the most important thing to understand about regret is that in and of itself, regret is worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned.
Too many of us, we think what's right for us based upon how man treats us, based upon how woman treats us, based upon how our boss treats us, based upon how our spouse believes in us, based upon how our friends support us. We base our gifts and our talents, if this is right for us, based on that. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you know that it's right for you based upon what God has given you, it don't matter about man's applause. You gotta stop doing it for them, right? You gotta start doing it for you.
All right, I'm one day better than I was yesterday. And that's how we have to look at life. That's how we have to look at these situations. And eventually you'll stop feeling the way that you feel right now. And because of the actions that you're taking, by the time that you stop feeling, because here's the thing, if you did nothing, if you just continue to live and you did nothing, all right, you will eventually get over this because time cures the painful wounds. Think of every hard thing you've ever been through. When enough time passes, it gets easier to deal with. It may not permanently go away, but it gets small. It gets real small in the rear view. And occasionally you'll be upset about it, but most of the time you kind of don't even think about it. The point is this, when that time comes, when the time comes where this huge event to you right now is very small in the rear view mirror, do you want to be in a better place than you are right now, or do you want to be in a worse place than you are right now? Because here's the thing, time is going to pass, and time will help heal the wound.
But God gave you the light, and you just shining. Even when they try to stop you, you still shining. Even when they try to slow you down, you still shining. Even when they try to come against you, you still shining. Even when they use their tactics to try to hurt you and kill your vision, you bring more light to it and you keep shining. Everybody ain't meant to handle the light. When somebody has darkness in their soul, when somebody has darkness in their spirit, when somebody is bitter and you becoming better, everybody can't handle the light of greatness. Everybody can't handle the light of calling. Everybody can't handle the light of you being who you are. You've been ordained to be able to do what you've been called to do. Everybody can't handle that because everybody ain't that.
Take action to become a person not filled with regret, but a person filled with knowledge and strength and power and life.
Realize that this too shall pass, that it's not about the highs, it's about the character you're developing, even in the lows.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen in life. Your parents are going to pass away, loved ones are going to die, your relationships are going to break down, your body is going to fail you, you're going to become ill or sick or destitute. Things are going to happen that you have no control over. And the only way that you can prepare yourself for unchosen suffering is with chosen suffering. You can elect to put yourself into a position to become a stronger alloy of whatever the metal is that you're made of. And by purposefully choosing difficult things, you will armor yourself against that situation.
Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. You see, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though, joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do.
You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. This is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is what are you becoming?
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. No matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
And many people go through life never getting in touch with their greatness because of the lack of motivation to push themselves, or because they have not found something that they believe to be worthwhile to challenge them. I heard a poem once that said, many a flower has bloomed unceasingly and wasted sweetness upon the cold desert air. It's translated, that means simply that many a talented persons have gone unnoticed, and the world never had a chance to be exposed to their talent because that person did not take the time to begin to express or to demonstrate or to motivate themselves in the direction to bring that which they came into the universe to bring.
The whole universe is change, and life itself is but what we deem it. Life itself is but what we deem it. The 8 most profound words in all of philosophy. Things are going to happen. You are going to have experiences in life. Almost all of the important impacts of how those experiences change you are going to be the story that you tell yourself about what that experience means.
There are moments in your life where problems seem as big as a mountain. You don't see the beauty of them because you're looking at it as an obstacle. Stop and look at what you've survived so far. Life is full of ups, downs, hills, valleys, and mountains. And when you do so, you will become a mountain of a man, a mountain of a woman, a mountain of a dreamer, a mountain of an achiever. But you've got to believe that somehow everything that you are going through is developing you for something greater.
The first one is, you are your own hero. You are your own leader. You are your own master. You make yourself so totally accountable for who you are. You focus on you and only on you to become the best person you could be for others.
You want to rebel against your parents? Cool. Do better. You want to rebel against society? Cool. Rebel by working harder than everyone else. That's the best form of rebellion. Sure, you can go and rebel against them by cutting school, not studying. That is a form of rebellion. And guess what? You're the one that loses. So instead of doing that kind of rebellion, rebel by winning. Rebel by getting smarter. Rebel by getting stronger. Rebel by working harder. Like, that's the kind of rebellion you should do.
How motivated are you to do something about it? Your contribution, your actions. What are you giving? Many people will leave the universe without a trace. No one will know they were here. And in fact, under their name, we could put under there, not used up. Will anybody know that you came this way? What contribution are you giving? What will you leave? What will be different because you came this way? Someone once said that life is our gift to us, that God has given us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God.
The best way to contend with problems, with issues, with adversity is action, is by taking action. The more you sit and the more you wait and the more time you spend with that adversity, with the upper hand inside your head, the worse it's going to get.
You have to believe that you're the person that's going to change your entire bloodline. You're the person that's going to change everything that's around you. You need accountability, though. It's got to be someone that you are accountable to push one another to greatness. Jordan had Pippen, and he pushed him until Pippen became a Hall of Famer. Both of them are champions, but they pushed each other to become elite together. There is a reliance and there is a duplicity that we need someone. Who's your one?
I found peace years ago. In the battle, you find peace. When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace. It's because you know exactly who you are. And that is where the peace is really found for me.
Because I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do, at some time you are going to get tired. At some time you're going to get in a rut. Seem like nothing you do works out right. And sometimes it just seems like you just don't have the wherewithal or the will to do anything. You can put effort on you, and by concentrating on you and developing you, you can transform your life wherever you are right now.
I do think that if you sit on the edge of your bed and things aren't going very well for you, and you ask what foolish thing you're doing to make it worse, that you'll get an answer right now. And it won't be the one you want, but it might be the one that if you listen to would set things straight. It might be something that you really don't want to contend with. But if you clear some space to meditate on that, the probability that you'll figure out something that you did that was stupid, that's bending you and twisting you in the wind, you'll get an answer.
I have nothing in common with lazy people who blame others for their lack of success. Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses. We're not lazy. We take ownership. We take full responsibility. We never play the blame game. We never make excuses. That the buck stops with me and the buck stopped now.
You're forgetting the person that's the most responsible for your success. You're forgetting about the person that's most responsible for your happiness. You're forgetting about the person that is most important to you. You're so busy giving everybody else a piece of you. Everybody else is taking your time. Everybody else has got you doing things that there's very little of you left to do what you want to do. And that's to win. We all want to win.
Victory is reserved for the warriors who's willing to pay its price. You can pay the price. You've already paid the debt. You've already been paying dues. Now it's time for you to reap the rewards. You should reach the limits of your virtue because you push it to the border of death, day in and day out. When you're under the bar, when you're pushing through and trying to finish your workout, you should be pushing yourself with the mindset, and I know that there's another level in me, I know that there's another layer, and I must uncover it. The version of me I was yesterday, I'm trying to conquer, so I can unleash the warrior that was born today.
Training is hard, all right? It is hard. It's supposed to be hard. Winning is hard, all right? Eating properly is hard. It is supposed to be hard. Everybody's looking for that easy path. Everybody's looking for those steps, 5 easy steps. 10 steps to greatness, 5 steps to success. And everyone's looking for those easy steps. There are no easy steps.
That whatever they hand find to do it, you got to do it with all your might. You got to give 120%. You got to have the right attitude. You got to have the right motives. You got to get up every single day. You can't take a day off. No days off. Why? Because there could possibly be 1 million people trying to do what you do.
How to do it. Wake up every morning. Make your bed. Take a cold shower. All that crap. I'm telling you right now, you have to be that person that leads from the front. And many of our leaders right now are not leading from the front. They're leading from the rear, but they're telling you how to do it. They're waking up late. They're not doing what they say. So in life, it's real important to do what you say because that's where true knowledge comes from.
Do you think Michael Jordan was interested in just being a basketball player? Do you think Kobe Bryant was just interested in winning championships? Do you think Tom Brady is just interested in being an NFL quarterback? Your mindset has to change right now. Interested is a fucking hobby. That's what interested is. That's what interested is. That means you can't make a decision. If you want to win, you want what's next, you can't be interested. You have to be obsessed.
I wanted to quit every single day, but many dreams die while suffering. And many of us out here have suffered, and when you're suffering, I'm not talking about just physically, I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most. You can't outrun your demons. They'll always know where you're hiding. Trust me at that. And I'm gonna end with this. Don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done.
Climb out of the hole. Climb out of the mindset. Climb out of the situations that told you you were no good. Put a mute button on everyone that has been a hater and tried to stop you. You have to believe that the fear you have felt is just that, a feeling. But there are a multitude of reasons why you can get up. In this sense, there are other men who have survived it, other women who have overcome it. Don't you dare panic. Let every man pick up his shield and come straight forward. Whatever the foes are that have tried to stop you, whatever haters you've had in your life, they were meant to sharpen your tools, to sharpen your skill set. They were meant to push you further in life.
Elevation is internal, it's not external. Motivation is external. All right, elevation is internal. They know. When they get to the gym, when they get up, yes, this is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be tough. I know it's going to be painstaking, but they take that accountability on themselves.
To me, every day is a beginning, a new day, a new week, a new shot at life. An opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy. I will get beat up, I'll get knocked down and drained, and I will have some bad days. But I will not stop.
It says character is not a product of circumstances. It's the thing that survives it.
Most people are so distracted, they're so busy being busy, they're so exhausted. It's very easy because there are so few people doing the things required of world class. There's very little competition at world class.
That hunger to be more, to do more, to give more, that hunger that never ends. If you can, I think everybody has that hunger, but for some people it's been asleep for a long time because they're afraid. They're afraid that I'm gonna get hungry, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna fail. And so it's human nature to protect yourself from the fear by just lowering your expectations. You get what you tolerate in yourself, you get what you tolerate in your life, and sooner or later we sometimes hit a point where we say, not another day, not another hour, this is done. I'm not walking this way, I'm not talking this way, I'm not living this way, I'm gonna change it. And when people do that, that's the beginning of a breakthrough.
Every next level of my life demands a new version of me. Oftentimes we got goals, dreams, and aspirations and want to acquire and do certain things, but you still the old version of you. You haven't grown. In no sense of the word. You haven't experienced enough. That's the great thing about experiences. People are so afraid of experiences, but the great thing about experiences, you learn who you are, what you possess, what you will do. You learn from different situations, different scenarios. When you fail, you learn. When it doesn't go the way you want it to, when it goes the way, you learn, right? How do you grow? You learn. How is character formulated and sustained? You learn, yes, right? And so when it says, let the hard things in life break you and affect you, it's not saying let it break you to the point that you crumble. What it's saying is let it affect you.
And every single one of you out there have the superpowers necessary for greatness. But until you're backed into a corner, like an injured, hungry, thirsty dog, you don't really realize how much you have in you. That is something that no test can measure.
Go after your dreams. I never allowed anybody to tell me what I was capable of accomplishing. I never let anybody tell me that I can't do.
Pain is real. Pain is so real that it has measurements to it. Pain is unavoidable and it will come. But pain is also a place of alteration of your life. You see, you're cut from a different cloth. And because of that, there will be times where you'll be pruned through the trials of life and pain comes. Pain can come by way of divorce. Pain can come by way of bankruptcy. Pain can come by injury. Pain can come emotionally. But don't run from pain, and you can learn from it. It is there so that you are reminded to go a different direction. This way is not the way. Embrace it. If you've been hurt before, if you've been broken before, if you've been betrayed before, it hurts. Yes, it's painful, but that pain is a lesson teacher.
The other side of temporary pain, you meet your other self. If you can survive the temporary, you'll meet another version of you. What actually keeps you alive does not make you successful. And so our proclivity is to avoid pain and discomfort. And when we're going through it, we try to get through it in such a way that it doesn't cause us much pain. If you can survive the temporary, you meet another version of yourself.
A lot of people, they wish, and they're not willing to work. And the great thing about life has a funny way of testing all of us and seeing how bad we really want what it is that we say we want. Because the thing I know about people can talk the talk, and people do it very well. And life is going to say to you, you said you wanted it, now let's see how bad you really want it.
And I said, most people underestimate their abilities and their capacity, and then they overestimate other people's abilities and capacity. It's almost like you put yourself in a position to think that greatness is somehow reserved for special people, and that you don't belong in that category of special, like almost like you don't have what it takes.
What the great ones understand is you're always going to be guaranteed success. You're always going to be guaranteed fulfillment when you're doing it for the process and not the product. If you're doing it for the product, then it's a hit or miss. But when you're doing it for the process, when you're doing it because it's in your heart, when you're doing it because you're doing it for compassion and passion, and you're doing it for somebody bigger than you, come on, man. You're going to be successful. There's no way you can fail. That's the promise that was made for you to be born.
You want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together and your life does get better and richer and more abundant. And that's why the highest levels of virtue and goal are in some sense transcendent. You want them to be above everything you're doing so you can continually move towards something that's more sublime and better. That's what you are. You're here to live, not to sleep.
You have everything that you need to achieve greatness, and you've got a duty and a responsibility to the world to demonstrate greatness, the highest version of yourself, the 2.0 version of yourself, the most self-actualized version of yourself. You must become the man that you love, that you respect, that you admire. That is your duty. That is my duty. You've got the next 6 months ahead of you. You can either be a loser and say you will wait for the new year to come to reset your expectations and a resolution, or you can start today and reprogram yourself for greatness.